Hello and welcome out to another one of our Summer Game Fest, not E3, Jeff Fest, whatever you want to call it, 2026 episodes. A little later than expected. A few reasons behind that. I am actually flying solo. It's Alex, the producer here. Birdman, if you've been following him on his public social medias, he's had a bit of a rough go. He had two different people that were, close to him pass away in the last week and a half. So between going to funerals and stuff like that, plus other commitments, he wasn't able to obviously be on, as many of the shows as we wanted to, or he wanted to even. And mixed with that, I got hit with a bout of bacterial infection that I had to get cleared up, and I had to go get antibiotics, which sapped my energy level last week when we were doing the rest of the stuff, and just about finished with the medication now, and feeling better from that, but still just very, very tired and weak. So I was not able to really record stuff when I wanted to. Was able to watch all of the shows and showcases and the stuff that happened over the weekend, but not in any way, shape, or form able to record. And now that I'm able to record something, it happens to be at a time when Ken is not going to be available. So we're doing this part solo. It's going to be a more laid back, just quick discussion. I'm just going to mention mostly the things that were announced. I'm not doing like a huge deep dive into like the indie stuff. There was a lot of indie stuff on the weekend. That was like by far the most I've ever seen for an indie, indie roundup stuff for Summer Game Fest. But basically touch upon what was at the Xbox showcase, and then that was like new stuff essentially, and then also touch upon stuff that was at the Nintendo one that did get announced later, which kind of helped me because it gave me an extra day or so to feel a little better before discussing. And we won't go into that too deep, but we'll have like the larger form discussion on all of the showcases, our feelings of the year so far, what we were surprised we saw, what we were surprised we didn't see. That sort of stuff will come at a later date. We're aiming to have it out early next week. It might be in place of a regular show. Might have a review show in there. Not 100% sure. Everything's a little up in flux right now, obviously, with what I mentioned going on with Birdman and just his busy schedule anyway. I will be away this weekend visiting family, so I'm going to find a time to record somewhere around that, as well as, playing some games and stuff for review. Speaking of which, we may as well get into, even though I wasn't feeling great, obviously, I was able to play some indie stuff. I was thinking, do I put a roundup in, or do I do like a first impressions? I'll just sort of mention what I've been playing, and maybe dive deeper into some of the stuff then, because right now it's like Steam Next Fest and a bunch of other stuff with Summer Game Fest, where there's a lot of preview codes going out to press. There's demos we can check out, early preview builds and full versions of games. So there's a bunch of different stuff. I've been playing a few different things. The Cubite Classic Soccer Kid Collection. Been playing that on Switch. I was sent a review copy of that. Pretty fun. I remember playing, I think, was it called Marco? I think that was like the adaptation of that on the Genesis back in the day. Well, this is like the original version, obviously very popular in Europe and like South America and that, and it's been brought to us. It's part of the Cubite Classics, which they've done a pretty good job of doing these ports with like of emulated versions with modern features added and that. I'm having a pretty good time with it so far. It plays quite well on the Switch too. I mean, obviously it'll play well on the Switch 1 as well. It's just it's the kind of game that it is. But that's pretty good. I've been playing Pixel Washer, which is something I mentioned, I think, like last year when we saw the initial announcement. It's pretty good. It's think like a 2D pixel version of Power Wash Simulator, but with a bit of a twist, like narrative and some stuff going on, as well as playing like an early demo preview build of Colossus Eternal Blight, which was something shown off at the indie showcases in the past week or so, which has been pretty awesome. I'll put links in the description so you can check out trailers and that. I will probably, when I'm feeling better, get back to doing longer and more in-depth reviews of some of these things, especially if time allows, because I want to, but at the same time, oh boy, have I ever been just zonked and out of it with zero energy. That's what antibiotics will do to you. But the other, let me think, was there anything else? Oh, yes. Very recently, I got a review copy on a few different platforms actually to check out for Axe Cop, which is like an 8-bit retro-inspired JRPG game based on Axe Cop, which you probably would most remember from the TV show that came out a few years ago. And the idea behind it being that the original like comic book and everything was written by a literal 5-year-old. It was related to his older brother, who was significantly older, who then made the comic book. Then they made the TV show and now the video game. And it is pretty fun. It's got that goofy sense of humor that, obviously only a kid can have and bring to it. It looks great. It's basically on every platform. And I'm having a blast just sort of when I've got the energy jumping between and checking out. The other one that was announced that was shown at the indie showcases that I had a chance to start checking out now is Daybreak Slam, which is a cool, funky looking fighting game, which is got a really cool, simple combat system. It has lots of weird, unique characters. There's like 6 game modes. I haven't had a chance to check out every single one yet, but it's like arcade versus tutorial, training, survival, and then there's an online multiplayer for it. There's a heat gauge, which it's like a power source essentially. You charge it up by when you're attacking people, and you can then use it to spend on move sets to do flashier, better moves. There's a more depth to this. There's like 12 stages, I think, in it so far. Collector stuff to pick up, including like mini games and stuff that are included. I haven't had a chance to check out everything just yet, but I mean, for an indie title, it's working pretty well. I just haven't had a chance to sit at my PC as much as I haven't been feeling this great to really dig in. But this one's good. This one's keep an eye on. I'll be probably discussing and mentioning it with Birdman, because I know he's always into fighting games, and he's the one that's always told me that like indie fighting games are the hardest to launch, and because they have to be good or the community like just won't pick up on it. As a fairly casual player, I've had a pretty good time with it so far. So I'm, cautiously optimistic that it's going to really, really scratch that itch for me of like just being a cool, unique player within that realm. So that is pretty much the smaller titles that I've had a chance to check out. There's been more offers, more stuff that we will probably check out from all the announcements as more codes and demos and everything become available. But I just wanted to sort of mention I have been sort of jumping in and out as the last week and a half, where between watching all the stuff and then just, taking antibiotics and not dying, it's always a good thing. So once I'm back to my normal self, I should be able to, much more dig into some of the larger reviews. Thankfully, like larger games and that we've mostly covered beforehand. So that's just a bit of an update here at the beginning of the show of, what I've been up to. Funny enough, when I had to go to the doctor to get check up and make sure that the antibiotics were working and everything, and just get new prescriptions of all this stuff. I had like a 2-hour wait before I could get my ride to come back home, and the movie theater where I usually go to see movies is literally in like, for a normal person, probably a 10-15 minute walk from there. But for me, it would take a lot longer, especially in the heat and with my energy levels, with needing the antibiotics. I called a cab and I was like, well, I got 2 hours. And it was like a $4 or $5 cab ride just to go to the movies so I could sit in air conditioning, and I watched the He-Man movie, the Masters of the Universe. I had a pretty good time considering I was just like so zonked out. And then I got my ride home. So I did manage to actually get some fresh air, even though I wasn't feeling the best. So that in itself was fun. I'm just glad I did something. So it's a fun popcorn movie. We'll probably talk about it at some point later on in the show. But yeah, I guess we should sort of get into, what was shown at the 2 I guess, yeah, two bigger showcases. I will mention one thing ahead of time. There was the Future Games show on the Saturday. The big headlining thing there was the 20-minute or so, 20 some odd minute, depending on, I guess, how they cut it, gameplay feature of Exodus from Archetype Entertainment. That's what the studio that was formed from a lot of the former old school BioWare devs that worked on stuff like Knights of the Old Republic, the Baldur's Gate series, I think the MMO, or one of the MMOs, as well as Mass Effect 1 and 2. The people that worked on 3 and Andromeda and that, a lot of them split off to other studios, and those projects have not always been up to what par of what people would want. But the core, some of the high honcho people that really worked in the creative part of the rise of BioWare right up to where they were at their creative peak, which was Mass Effect 2, went to form Archetype Entertainment. And I've been, wanting to see this. It looked, even from the additional previews, like it was a Mass Effect, and it pretty much does. The comparisons are always going to be there. It looks like it's doing its own thing, though. And I had the privilege, even while I was not feeling great, to participate in a press-only screening of it, of the footage, and do a Q&A with the developers, the development team, little less than a week before they showed this off. So I already knew that it was going to be good. And I can say this, I think it's going to be a big hit. It's coming next year. Think Mass Effect meets a better, more fluid movement system. The graphics look very cool. The environments are really high detailed. The characters have a very distinct art style. They're not going for hyper realism, but that almost helps with the lighting and the feel for it, because you won't hit that weird uncanny valley that you sometimes hit with games. There is a team member is basically a ascended octopus inside of a mech suit named Salt. You have a wolf dog ascended companion that talks to you. There's a bunch of other stuff. I won't spoil it. It's worth watching the actual trailer for it. I'll probably, I'll put a link to it in the show's description here, so you can check that out, along with links to the games I had mentioned previously, the indie titles that I've been checking out, just in case you're interested in them. But yeah, that was probably the only thing from the Future Games show that I would say was truly unique and worth watching. But yeah, moving on into the stuff that was shown at Xbox. Well, they started out, which I was a little surprised with, a 6-minute preview, full reveal of Gears of War E-Day, the prequel, which looks pretty sweet. Well, again, a lot of the discussions for this stuff will go into longer form. We get Birdman and Ken on board, but I'm going to skip over pretty much anything that was not a brand new reveal or first-time gameplay footage or a major expansion-y type of thing, and keep my personal thoughts, for the most part, till we can have our long-form discussion. But I will say this, it was pretty cool seeing Gears of War E-Day. There was a new trailer for Fable showing off Haley Atwell playing what appears to be the villain. Graphical increase, different tone, looks pretty cool. I think since then they are showing off game demos where it's longer form, deeper dives into the actual gameplay mechanics of it, which I haven't checked out yet, but I will have to. Halo Combat Evolved was, Halo Campaign Evolved was shown, and I should mention that the couple of games were shown here, Gears of War E-Day and then one later on, that have gone to being true exclusives back. They're exclusive. They're going to be on PC because it's part of the Windows ecosystem. But as far as console goes, they won't be on Switch or on PlayStation. But a lot of these were done deals beforehand that are in contracts, so they can't change it. So a lot of the others are still going to be on PlayStation or on Switch 2. Halo Campaign Evolved being one of those ones that's also going to be on PlayStation 5. They showed that there's 3 new missions for it that they created for it, prequel-y missions. And one of them looks like it takes place in space, which is pretty cool. Resonance, A Plague Tale Legacy, I believe, was teased last year. They showed gameplay for it, and it's going to be on Game Pass, and that's going to be available also on PlayStation 5. There was the full reveal, and not just the teaser walking demo that they did before of Persona 4 Revival. That's coming February 27th. February seems to be the month where a lot of times they're releasing these Persona titles or for SMT titles. And it's going to be on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC, and it's going to be on Game Pass as well, which is pretty awesome. It looks good. I think it's new voices. It didn't recognize the voices sounding the same, new dialogue and everything too. State of Decay 3 is coming to Xbox, PC, and PS5 in 2027. That game was announced like 6 years ago, and it was already delayed, I think, a few times. I don't personally. I think that the idea of another zombie game is just meh. But I think if you're fans of the series, cool. Let me see. New stuff. What else did I have in my notes here? Full gameplay reveal of Metro 2039. That was teased previously. That's going to be PS5, Xbox, and PC, because that is not published by Microsoft. That's published by, I believe it's one of the few AAA, like one of the 2 or 3 AAA studios that Embracer still has. So it looks pretty cool. It looks scary as shit. One of the highlights here of new stuff was Bad Magpie. You play a magpie that is missing a wing, can't fly, and does crazy stuff because it's obsessed with a fallen star. Neat. That's going to be on Xbox and PC. They showed Wolong 2. Cool. It wasn't any of our games really, but cool. Join us. This one is you basically starting a cult and getting people to join you, and then weird Cthulhu-y type stuff happens. It looks interesting. PC and Xbox. Then they showed Senua. Not Senua 3 or Saga or whatever. It's just called Senua. It's just coming in 2027. This one's going to be on PS5, Xbox, and PC. It doesn't have anything to do with Hellblade in the title, so I don't know. They're maybe trying something out a little different. It looks a little more pure action oriented, which could be different and exciting. Doom: The Dark Ages had Revelations announced, which title a little unfortunate because Final Fantasy Revelation was announced a few days before, but this is the expansion for it. It's a paid expansion, so it's not part of Game Pass. You can get the base game for Game Pass, but you have to pay for the upgrade if you want to play the expansion. But you get a new weapon. You get a glowing javelin that seems to replace the shield and changes the gameplay up a little bit, which looks pretty cool. Crazy Taxi World Tour. That was announced. That's they already announced they were doing something with it, but they're finally showing it off. There's some controversy around it because it was revealed that some Gen AI was used in the conceptual phase and they replaced the art and all this, but it's caused a hubbub amongst the streaming community of a lot of creators saying that they're just not going to promote the game. And I feel like Crazy Taxi and Sega might be in a little bit of a panic mode, trying to spin it and figure it out. It looks fun. It's launching on PS5, Xbox, and PC in 2027. It looks like they've recreated the original game, and you're going to be traveling to other parts of the world, to different areas. There's like different mini games and stuff. It looks pretty sweet. New stuff here. Minecraft Dungeons 2 was revealed. Cool for the people that like that. That's obviously going to be PlayStation 5, Xbox, Switch 2, original Switch, and PC. Now, one of the cool new game reveals was Magicians: The Devil's Deal. This is Xbox and PC. Now, this is, I think they might have gone back and said this is exclusively on Xbox and PC as well, but it didn't say that initially, but I think that's what they're going for here. You play as a magician who performs tricks in basically a first-person shooter, but magician's tricks to try to stop the devil and demons from coming after you. Pretty cool. A game that I thought was brand new, but it was actually the release date trailer with more gameplay footage. It was Valor Mortis, which is a French Revolution first-person game with like magical, weird Souls-like things to it, and they revealed that it's starring Vincent Cassel, the famous French actor, as Napoleon, which is cool. We can skip the Fallout stuff. There was another Chinese game called Where Winds Meet, Hidden Mountain. This is now available on Xbox and S. Oh, the new expansion was coming soon, so that wasn't new. That wasn't new, just a new expansion for it. One of the coolest looking things here was Vivarium, which is I guess like adventure cozy time management game, but you're basically controlling characters from like an anime from like the late 70s, early 80s. Hand-drawn animation, very cool. It looked like, what was it, the Alice in Wonderland anime from back then, or like the one that was like the gnome, I forget the name of it, but that like late 70s, early 80s TV anime style. Pretty sweet. Persona 6 was revealed, but not really. It was just the title reveal. It looks like it's much darker in tone, more like the regular SMT series, but we'll see from there when that actually has more gameplay footage revealed. Spyro, A Realm Beyond was announced. That's going to be on PlayStation 5, Xbox, Switch 2, and PC. Brand new Spyro game. My brother went nuts. He was actually on a plane flying to California for work. And he's like, I don't want to know anything till I get back, but just tell me, did they show what I hope they showed? Because he had heard about rumors of Spyro, and I'm like, yes. And he said, he goes, oh God, I have to make sure I don't scream on the plane. Clockwork Revolution is not a new game, but it is finally getting more gameplay, and they just mentioned that it's coming to Xbox console exclusively and PC. They did make that exclusive where it wasn't previously going to be, and that's has its in due time date changed to 2027. So that was the other first party title they for sure mentioned was going to be exclusive now. They did also show off the DMZ first look, the DMZ zone or mode in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, which was pretty cool. And that's basically how they ended it. It was a really good show overall. Very well paced. A lot of good variety of things that for fans out there of different genres and everything. And then we had a couple other indies showcasing that day. There's the PC show, was mostly not great. I will probably mention a highlight or a few of them when we do the proper longer form discussion on this in a week's time or so, but nothing really popped off. I wanted to save my fellow co-hosts the suffering of having to watch the horrible skits with Day9 and Mika Barton, and it's like, I don't know, man, like I've never seen anything so cringe. It gets worse and worse every year, but yeah. So then Nintendo did what Nintendo does and waited till everybody else was done before they announced their Direct. And if you were looking for a Direct that was a partner Direct, it was the most stuffed with partner stuff ever, including lots of ports of brand new games that haven't even come out yet. Now it's coming to the platform, and ports of games that are 5-10 years old. Problem was the pacing. We'll have to discuss this. This was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Horribly paced, overstuffed in certain areas, underserved in other, zero fanfare or build up for the bigger titles. It was like AI put together, just a random plotting of garbage. It was by far the worst, in my personal opinion, it was the worst Nintendo Direct I've ever seen. As far as its presentation, a lot of the games are great, but it was like, what? And that's even like trying to take your mind and separate it from everything that had happened. Like, this was one of the best Summer Game Fests overall with all the other stuff, and this was like the worst outing I've ever seen from them. A couple of really big titles, but I will mention at least what was announced, and I will only mention things that are, again, new, because I don't want to go into the fact that they showed over stuff that it looks cool, but we'd already known was coming. Dragon's Dogma 2, while this is not new and it's just being ported, it's the Dark Arisen edition. So it's coming. It was an announcement that there is an enhanced, like, complete collection-y sort of better edition with expansions and stuff. And it was announced here that's the version you're going to get on Switch 2. I'm not going to announce things that are just straight ports unless there is a special version that's unique or new for that. They did show off Orbitals, and they gave it a date of September 3rd. So I will mention that. That is the It Takes Two that was like anime inspired. And this is completely console. It's not even coming out on PC. It is only Switch 2, period. One platform. And so I'm hoping that we get a chance to check that out and review that. beyond that, there was One Piece Grand Gourmet, which was a pixel art, almost like DS style game where you're making like a restaurant with all of the characters from One Piece. It's coming out October 23rd on Switch, Switch 2, PC, iOS, and Android, so you can tell what kind of game it is from that. Pokemon Pocopia is getting a full expansion where you can build underwater, which looks cool. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave had its full trailer reveal. There's 4 main protagonists that you can choose from in different factions, and it's coming out September 17th on the Switch 2. Ninjala 2, The Uncharted Planet. Ninjala 1 was, I think, like a gacha live service game that was on PC or multiple platforms. This is a single console version of a new game specifically for the Switch 2, and that's coming out in the spring of 2027. We'll skip the limited time. There's like DK challenges and Bonanza 40th, blah, blah, blah. We can discuss that maybe later, but that's just fluffy stuff. It's not actually new games. Jujutsu Kaisen Rumble, Survivation. It's basically Vampire Survivors, new skin, new game. It's going to be on Switch 2, PS5, Xbox, and PC. If you like Vampire Survivors, you'll probably like that. Skipping a lot of the ports and stuff. More ports and ports and ports. Okay. Now, when I say port, I mean like direct ports, no changes. Now we have Muramasa Revenant Blades, which was, I believe, the Wii title. This is like an enhanced remake of the Wii title. Either that or it's a sequel. They weren't very clear. But it looks to me like it was the Wii title, and this is going to be on Switch 2, PC, and PS5, coming in early 2027. Now, there was a big trailer showing off that there's Switch 2 editions of the 1, 2, and 3 numbered Xenoblade Chronicles games, and they're not like Xenoblade Chronicles X, where it was just like poor AI upscaling. It's like full versions, completely ground up, new textures, lot larger file sizes, 60 FPS. They even added like game modes and special new things and new voice acting for certain parts. I can say this as of this recording, I was just sent a review copy of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 Definitive Edition, Switch 2 edition. So I'll be checking that out over the next week or so, and on the next regular show or next review show, I'll have a full review to discuss that. The reason I mentioned this is right after they showed off what we thought was going to be Xenoblade Chronicles 4, but it's Xenoblade Genesis. Appears to be not in the same universe. I think it's a new story. Like Xenoblade is the full title, and then like from now on, Chronicles was a series in a world that was a series. Now this is another series. Could be like parallel worlds, could be new thing, but I think it might be more like Final Fantasy now, where they're wanting to differentiate and have titles not all be connected to the same thing. So we'll see. We'll discuss that later. And that is coming in 2027 for Switch 2. Nintendo Switch Sports Resort was announced, and that's coming to Switch 2. It's a Switch 2 exclusive. It's Switch Sports. Big thing there was they had like a thumb wrestling mode that everybody was like, why? But yes, Hello Kitty Party Land, which is like Mario Party, and that's coming for Switch and Switch 2 in October. It actually looks kind of fun. They announced that Star Fox, the new Star Fox game, is actually having a free demo that was available, so I'm going to download that and check it out later on today. Final Fantasy Resonance, which I was worried because I was like, this looks like that Brave Exvius kind of crap that I saw on phones, and it was all gacha and full of microtransactions. It turns out they've done the same thing here that they did with Octopath Traveler 0, where they took the online game, that Exvius game, and they didn't just, it's not just a slap together single player mode. They took elements, made a brand new game based on a couple of the sprites and a few of the elements of this game, but they made a brand new from the ground up HD 2D game, and it's like single player. It doesn't have any of that stuff in it, the microtransactions or just the telltale signs of a mobile game. It's a ground up creation using assets and plot points and thoughts from that. It does retain some of the stuff like summoning characters from previous Final Fantasies, but it is a turn-based single-player game a la Octopath. Looks beautiful, looks really cool. So I'm hoping we get a chance to get our hands on a review copy of that to check out. But that is coming on Switch 2, PS5, Xbox, and PC. New stuff. Let's see what else. Duskbloods didn't have anything new really at all, except that it looked a little bit like a visual downgrade because it looks like they're trying to make it hit set frame rate goals, targets, or whatever. And they just said there's going to be a network test this summer, but it was basically a nothing burger. And then there were new Joy-Cons shown that are going to be color schemed towards Splatoon Raiders. No amiibos, which is very surprising. Deltarune Chapter 5 was announced, and that's going to be on basically every platform, Switch, Switch 2, PC, Mac, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, June 24th. And weirdly in the montages, some things were announced that I was like, why was this in a montage with no fanfare? Atelier Korea, The Night Kingdom, and The Guide of Memories, which is the new Atelier game. It's going to be on Switch 2 and PC in 2027. There was Tales of Eternia Remastered announced there for Switch in October for Switch, Switch 2, PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. And then Kingdom Hearts, while again announcing a port isn't a big deal, they're porting the games that were, I think, the PlayStation 4 or 5 versions over, so you're getting collections of 1.5 and 2.5 as well as 3 plus something called Remind in it. I think that's new. And if you have the cloud versions of the ones on the Switch, the saves will transfer over. You don't get the new ones for free, which womp womp. But the cloud service, I think, was shut down even. But the save files will carry over if you rebuy it, which but it's like $100 for all 3 packages and you get a shit ton of games, so that's not bad. The reason I mentioned this is Kingdom Hearts 4, which had previously been announced and shown at a PlayStation event, and it was expected to be a PlayStation exclusive. They showed the full reveal and that it's showing more gameplay. It looked graphically rough. It looked worse than 3. Maybe because it targeted PS4 Pro back in the day, and the PS4 Pro I think is more powerful or about as powerful as the Switch 2 and whatever. But I think that they have other video encodes of it available to watch that are from other platforms that look better. But the Switch 2 version looked kind of rough, to be honest. But they did announce that it's going to be available on Switch 2 at launch. And it's also going to be on, obviously, the PS5, PC, and Xbox. And then they finished the show with the, rumored leaked Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake. Looks really visually stunning from the few seconds they showed, and then had nothing else to show and said coming 2026. It was kind of a nothing burger announcement, especially since everybody knew it was already coming because of all those leaks that came out. It was a very uneven Nintendo Direct. A few really cool things, and I left out like 90% of what was shown because it was all ports of like PS3 and PS4 games that, to be honest, most people probably won't care about unless you're already a hardcore fan or if it's dirt cheap. And it's not me being cynical. It's just, it was not the time or place to really showcase that stuff. All those third-party ports should have been in a partner direct in like April, and just to blow those out, and we could have had a really, really good half-hour direct of all of the new stuff that was first-party or brand new announcements for this, where they could have had a little bit more deep dives, a little more footage of things, and it would have been great. But that's my opinion. We'll talk about more of it when we end up doing the longer form discussion in about a week's time or so. We'll see how that all works out. The only other thing I want to mention here, just before we close out the show, is I received in the mail a copy of Nine Souls. Now, I was like, oh yeah, this I've heard of this. I received a copy on the original Switch physically. We don't do as much physical reviews anymore. It's just not as common, but some companies are starting to send that stuff out. So I wanted to give a shout out. This is published by Red Candle, Fangamer. This is pretty cool. I've had a chance to dig into it a little bit. I'll take a picture because it's been a while. I realized I don't really own a lot of physical games anymore. It's sort of the nature of being in the media and being a reviewer, in that a lot of the stuff you get is for the most part, especially since the pandemic, like in the last 4 or 5 years at least, there's been a lot less physical that's come out, that we review. But it was cool getting hands on. And shout out to that. It's got pretty cool box art. And it is nice to, have something physical. There's also cool, feelies included. There's actual like inserts. It's not just a blank box with a card in it. It's actually got a bunch of cool stuff in it. So, it's a pretty cool hand-drawn action platformer. Some Sekiro inspired stuff. It's hard. It'll take me a while to get through it all, but I wanted to give a shout out that I thought that was really cool, and thanks to them for sending it out. I'm always happy to review and check out stuff that comes in physically, and even though you can't bribe us, but it takes a little priority. When I get a physical thing for review, I'm more likely to gravitate to at least review that thing first. I'll just say that. But that's it. I'm gonna go take a nap. I'm still a little bit zonked from everything that's been going on, and we're gonna reconvene in the next little bit. We've got plenty more cool shows upcoming. We've got Earth versus Soups. Birdman is in the process of recording and releasing new episodes of The Spellbook. We're planning stuff for brand new episodes of Future Imperfect and Loose Cannon, and of course we are going to have our final Summer Game Fest, I guess post-mortem discussion on all the showcases, the games that we wanted to highlight that we think were the best, who had the best show and showcase, what's missing, what was absent, what are we looking forward to for the rest of the year, and also the big discussion on GTA, and oh my god, how many things are coming out in September. But that's going to do it for us here. We'll talk to you again next time, right here on thisweekingeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.